recording you. Officer, what are you doing? Indiana code, may permits the officer, like, that's what they're doing.
Right.
And you're not even dealing, you're on a traffic stop, or your attention is diverted to another call. And you're just like, dude, I am 110%, I keep saying that, I'm all for someone recording me.
Right.
But it's awkward to me, Matt. You know why? Because let's say you're recording me, you got your phone up, okay? I'm used to you being a dickhead about it. I'm recording you. Officer, what are you doing? Indiana code, may permits the officer, like, that's what they're doing.
Right.
And you're not even dealing, you're on a traffic stop, or your attention is diverted to another call. And you're just like, look, step back, go over there, go 150 feet away from me. I had one guy, he filmed me at an apartment complex. He's quiet, not saying anything. I kind of look at his camera, look at him, he goes, officer, I'm recording everything because some incident or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Very respectful. I said, hey, no problem. I'm recording you too.
Right.
I have a body camera on my chest. I have to, it's my job. I have to have it on. So yeah, but those guys, man, the one that we had in our town, the reason why he dug himself into a huge hole. He started out, he wouldn't pay his registration. So he kept getting pulled over and ticket. He wouldn't pay the ticket, so the BMV suspended his license. The police department does not suspend licenses.
Right.
The BMV does. Then he starts getting pulled over, and what happens is your vehicle gets towed and everything, unless you got someone to come pick it up. So then he becomes, which is a felony. It's a habitual traffic violator. He just escalated like pointlessly into this whole.
Why wouldn't he pay the tickets?
Dude, he was a sovereign citizen.
Sovereign citizen?
Well, see, he made his mind up that he was going to be a sovereign citizen. I think what happened was he was like down his luck. He didn't have any money to pay for this registration, whatever the case. And I'm a big, my number one thing is compassion in this job. Like I was telling you, I tell you the Hispanic lady story
on the phone. I don't know. It was
anyways. Well, your viewers will probably want to hear it. So we had a Hispanic woman sitting in a car,
right,
at the edge of this road. She's on private property, and we get a call, suspicious vehicle. Lady's been sitting here for an hour, so we get there. Her English is really broken, but she tells me she's waiting for her daughter to get off the bus. So I have an officer come up, and he's a rookie, like brand new. He tells her, like, well, I ran your name, and you don't have a license, and if I catch you driving, you're going to be arrested for operation without ever receiving. I said, bro, get out of here. I said, get out of here, I'll take care of this. And in fact, he was so new, still with his training officer. I said, you guys get out of here, I'll take care of this. Like, okay, cool. So her daughter gets off the bus, and her daughter speaks perfect English and Spanish, obviously. And the lady, the daughter's like, oh, she goes, officer, please, no, my mom works 2 jobs.
Yeah, she's terrified.
She's got 3 kids.
Off. Yeah.
I'm like, look. I said, okay, that's fine. I said, hey, I said, is she waiting on you? She's like, yeah. I said, okay, well, I'm leaving now. You guys have a good day. And so the daughter looks at mom, says something in Spanish, looks back at me and goes, my mom thinks you're trying to trick her. And I was like, listen, I'm leaving. I'm not searching for you. I'm not telling you you can or cannot drive. But why would I arrest this woman? Take her vehicle. She probably loses her job. I mean, that's the thing that guys have to think about. And some of the younger guys, I compare them to like baby venomous snakes do. When they bite, they let everything loose. They don't. It's like, bro, you got to learn how to like when to use your, compassion. Try to be as and I love the saying, the guys that don't want to be in charge should be the ones that are in charge.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the video, and if you're interested in buying a painting from me, my contact information is in the description box. Back to the video.
Right. I think that's a huge thing. You get guys that are like, I'm Johnny Law. It's like,
no, I'm. It's funny. It's like John Bozak and I were talking the other day. We were reading comments from people, and we were talking about like things that should happen in prison, right? Like things that should, like there should be more, more programs, more this, and yeah, there should be, and we were talking about like when you get out, they should help you transition into society. And the whole problem is that obviously people are like, no, you fucked up, you gotta you dug your own hole, you gotta pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Society's harsh, man.
Right, they are, and here's the thing, like this is the way I was looking at it. It's like I agree, I fucked up.
You pay for it though. Man.
Right. Well, I get that, but I understand that the mentality of saying, fuck you, fix it yourself. But then I also think, okay, but the problem is, we were talking about this, you get to halfway house, you barely have any time to save any money, you get back on the street, you can't pay your bills, your first thought, your go-to move is commit a crime.
Oh, yeah,
so the recidivism rate is high. And so at the very least, even if you say, hey, fuck this guy, I don't want to help this guy, at least say, hey, you know what? It's going to cost, for the Bureau of Prisons, of Federals, it's roughly $30,000 to keep you in prison. Yeah. Another $20,000 that you're now not contributing in taxes, in all forms of taxes, not just income tax, but sales taxes, property taxes, across the board. Consumer goods you're not buying. So it's really $50,000. You're now costing society $50,000. So you can't help this. You can't throw this guy a little bit of money, some food stamps, and give him a place to live that gradually gets him back into society. I mean, that's just stupid.
What's the saying? It costs more to send someone to the state pen than send them to Penn State.
Right.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
So even if you don't want to help that guy, then help society.
I was telling you about these cops in Arkansas. Man, it's a funny ass video because they're like both morbidly obese, and the suspect is morbidly obese, and then the cop is morbidly obese. It's deputies, like backwoods deputies, and the guy was saying something. The suspect says something like, "I just want to be friends." I can't remember what he says. He says something along the lines, and the cop goes, "You're a felon. We don't get along." It's like, what? I used to work with felons on a freight dock. And I'd let these guys watch my kids.
Right.
And then there's guys I work with and as a police officer that I can't fucking. I don't want to see you outside of work.
Right.
You go home, I'll go home, and I have to work with you on a call. That's the beautiful thing about that job, man. Is my office is on wheels. I can go and I don't think I even want to get promoted, dude. Like you were talking about intellect. So we had the huge Jordan Peterson.
Oh, yeah,
right. God, don't get me started. And you said, well, you sound like you're really smart, man. You'd probably be a lieutenant one day. I'm like, that is not the way that works. It's not based on that.
It's like getting moving up in the BOP. Like the guys that cause them a problem, they get moved up because they don't want to deal with them. So you can't fire them. So what we'll do is we'll give
the COs, you mean?
Yeah, the COs. We'll move him we'll make him a counselor and send him to another prison. We don't have to deal with him anymore now. We can't fire you. You're such a problem as a CO. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move you over. There's a counselor position here. We're gonna put you and move you here. Oh, you can't do that. We're gonna make you a unit manager, move you here. They keep getting bumped up. Yeah. Like if you're an idiot, you can really go places in the BOP.
Well, and I'll tell you too, man, like bad admin will ruin a department. Like it is so, the similarities between law enforcement and corporate America, God, I mean, it's insane. Yeah, admin can ruin, and you're just like, why are we doing this? It's just like, are you stupid? Like you've been a cop for 25 years. But the problem is, and Bria worded it really well, the policies they put in effect, they don't see how it works on the ground.
Right.
They've been riding a desk for 17 years. So, hey, let's do this. Okay. Well, it's not working. Yeah. Or it's archaic. Yeah. So, and when what you're talking about too, man,
it's like the guy that designed, Jess always, it's like, she's like, the engineers, the guys that designed the boats, that she's like, I don't know why they would put this here. You can't get to it. You know what I'm saying? You can't.
But they can build a boat.
Yeah, you can build a boat, but you don't realize that at some point I'm going to have to be able to get to the engine and service it. And, it's what's cost effective, what's cost effective, or what seems like a good idea at the time, typically will fall apart.
Well, and if it's ain't broke, man, I'm not trying to fix it. Right. I am a big proponent to because the public doesn't understand this. All right, there's a thing called morale. Mm-hmm. Morale is bad. It's a trickle down effect. Officers aren't going to be. you're going to have different types of reactions to it, but it's all negative, and it can be very, very destructive. But you put together, I don't care what job, you're a car salesman, if you're a plumber, police officer, but in my line of work, obviously it's inherently more dangerous, right? So show your, I always tell guys this. I had a buddy that got promoted. He became a sergeant. He said, and he said, look, man, if my head gets too big, tell me, reel me back in. I said, well, I don't know if I should. I don't know. That's your job. You took the rank.
All right.
Be a good dude. Be who you are. Don't fucking change. It's just stripes on the collar. Man. Don't let it change. And but show your guys you're willing to go to bat for them, and they will storm the gates of hell with you. They will. If you show guys, hey, I'm there for you. I'm with you. Now, obviously, in my line of work, if you do something immoral or illegal, then it's like, yeah, you fucked yourself on that one.
Right.
But if you have good intentions, and because you never know, man, it's like how the admin interpret. I don't mean like criminal investigation. I don't mean like you stole $50,000 off of a drug dealer on a traffic stop. I mean like I got in trouble one time because I gave someone Narcan. I gave him the unused. And now when I tell you, our Narcan is not toxic. You can give it to a toddler and he can show it. As long as there's no opioid, it doesn't do anything. It will not do anything to you.
Right.
So this guy didn't have enough to detain him, nothing like that. He was apparently nodding off. It's called on the nod.
Hey, sorry for interrupting the video, but I want to let you guys know that if you join my Patreon at the top tier, every single month you get a different painting, and the contact information for my Patreon page is in the description. Back to the video.
Yeah. They're on the nod. The lady at the drive-thru at KFC was like, I was a heroin addict, and he's on the nod, and I know. And I'm like, okay, cool. My intentions were good. This dude's like, I'm a recovering heroin addict. I'm on Suboxone.
Right.
But my script ran out, but I'm not using any heroin. I don't have nothing in my system, officer. I'm like, okay. He's probably just telling us this.
Yeah.
But I can't, he passed field sobriety tests. We have no reason to detain or arrest this guy. And I'm like, look, bro. It expires. And going back to taxpayer money, that shit is like $150 a vial.
Right.
Or not a vial, a shot. So I give it to him. I say, the side of it, and I remember this happened in June of 2020. The side of it said June or JUN/20 for the expiration. I said, this expires this month. You paid for it. Technically, it's yours. You're a taxpayer. Here, I got pulled in the office. And they're like, well, that's a lie. You're basically saying that it's okay for this guy to overdose. And I said, no. I know when someone's telling me the truth and when they're not. And I would rather this guy use this. It's going to expire, and you have to throw it out.
Right.
So that kind of stuff. And my supervisor, they if you have a good supervisor, they'll go to bat with you, because then you have to meet with the lieutenant who is his boss, or maybe it just depends on the circumstance. But yeah, my lieutenant at the time was a huge asshole, and he made a mountain out of a molehill and everything. And my sergeant was like, his intentions were good. He didn't really violate policy.
Right.
So I didn't get in trouble technically, but they were like, well,
You got to talk to.
You got to talk to. So that's the kind of stuff I mean, but it came from a place of compassion. I'm like, I don't want this guy to fucking overdose and die.
Right.
And he had a job. He'd gotten out of prison. And some of the most God, man, there's so many disciplined guys that I've met that went to prison. And they got out, and they, like you're doing. It's like you can fall victim to happenstance. And I'm not saying, I really feel for guys that have drug problems, because that's a lifelong battle.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine. But yeah, I was never a CO, and I never really wanted to be one. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's too smart, man. Jordan Peterson to tell you, I was the next tier.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know.
Love that guy.
He's kind of a fad, man. I don't know. He said something. He's kind of like the modern day Abe Lincoln. You give me 6 hours to cut down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. He said some shit, and you're like, what?
I love that. Why
He's
is
tricky.
That's a great line.
That's Abe Lincoln.
It's a great line.
Abe Lincoln was a legit bad. He's Canadian.
And so what?
Well, when it pertains to what we were talking about,
right?
And listen. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we are all fucking part of Mensa, because that's a lie. But I don't know. I just don't like the vague lumping everyone in. What was it, 90 to 110?
90 to 110.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. 90 to 110. Look, bro. I'm
sure you're on the high scale.
Shit, dude. It's hard, isn't it? 110's not bad.
It's like
like having
John.
listen,
It was
Matt.
the police officers are basically fall between like 90 and 110 because you don't
COs are what? The COs are below that.
COs have to be way below that.
Absolutely.
So you don't want them to be dumber than 90 because
they can't follow
they can't
orders,
follow
yeah,
orders.
and then
But
if
you
they're
don't
too
want
smart.
to be higher than that because then they'll question the orders or they get bored with the job. Like they're like, I don't want to do this. This isn't challenging enough. So you need people in that general range.
Well, you don't
And
become a
that's all I
cop.
was saying.
Yeah. No, you don't. I don't think you don't become a cop because of the complexity. I mean, there could be some very complex stuff, like you had all these huge cases over the years, but it's not. That's not really why. Like I don't do it because I want to find the most complex fucking like when someone calls me, or I had this lady one time, she got hacked or she got scammed from like these people overseas, and I'm like, call the feds. We
Right.
don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
We're a local law enforcement agency. I like the more, high
one-on-one,
speed.
physical. I can.
But I don't want to
you can-
fight. Yeah. Well,
No,
I mean,
I
I like the variation, like all the other stuff I said, but you don't get into it because, I'm telling you though, Matt, like, I think 90 to 110, I think it's just like the average penis size or something. Like you go up to a construction worker, like how smart is he? Or how smart is the plumber? How smart is this guy? Yeah, you might have a guy that's, he has 145 IQ, but you might have a guy that's at a 90. I don't know, but there is no IQ testing done in the state of Indiana. But there's testing as far as, hey, there's a written test and like facial recognition. It goes over your crystalline and fluid and memory because there's two types of memory. So, it's kind of like what's coming at you fast. Can you retain that? And can you retain stuff that we told you? Because they'll give you like a booklet to look through. And you have like 2 hours to study this. And then you take the test and they'll say, where was the potted plant on the 3rd floor of this? They'll give you like a blueprint to a hotel or something. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not saying, because he said some really good stuff. He's got the way he words things is very thought-provoking. And I'm not saying, I don't know. He just popped up out of nowhere. His popularity was like,
Yeah, shot right up. He's
he's a Joe Rogan of, what is he? Is he a psychiatrist or psychologist or what? He's a doctor. He's got a
psychologist.
psychologist. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not, like I said, not saying we all walk around and, we start at 110. No, I don't know. I don't know the difference between how a guy with a 90 IQ would react to something and how a guy with 110. I just don't know.
they're blunt objects, guys that, they're fix stuff, grab, throw them on the ground, cuff him, put him in the car. That's the, as opposed to the, and look, sometimes you got no choice but to grab somebody and throw them, and do that. Like I totally get that. Like there's multiple times I've watched stuff on YouTube where I've watched the officer and I've been like, sometimes I'm like, he's an asshole, and sometimes I'm like, he's way more patient than I would be in that situation.
Did you see what happened in Sunrise, Florida? The sergeant grabbing the officer by the throat.
Mm-hmm.
Watch that one. They've got this guy, and I don't know why. I will Monday morning quarterback this all day because this was no split second. Oh, why did he do that?
Right.
Like, no, this was premeditated. Like, why did you do this? The sergeant shows up, and you can just look at him. He's a hot-headed, like, authoritative, draconian, like, this dude isn't, like, asshole. They've got this guy handcuffed in the back seat of the car, and the sergeant goes up and is going to pepper spray the dude that's already handcuffed. He's mouthing off, but it's hurting the sergeant's ego.
Yeah.
The female officer grabs him by the duty belt and is pulling him away, like trying to save him, like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
He turns around and grabs her by the throat and pushes her all the way. Watch it. Look, Google Sunrise, Florida sergeant.
Dude, that guy shouldn't be a police officer.
No, he shouldn't. No, but look, he was a cop for like 17 years.
Can you imagine
How many times he's done this? Yeah. Or how abusive, what his home life is like.
He's the reason
we get bad names.
People hate cops.
Exactly.
That's...
And I like to have a dialogue with people if they're reasonable. Like, I don't like cop. Okay, well, what? And look, I don't try to advertise it, but if it somehow pops up and we start talking about it, they'll at the end of it go, you know what, man? I'll reserve a spot for you. I still don't.
Yeah.
Or they might say, hey, I didn't know that. I appreciate that. But like my brother, I was telling you the story about him. I don't know, maybe you don't remember, but he had a. I said, Alan, you're an idiot. He had a cop. His girlfriend was with him, and she had a small dog. And there's a female cop standing there, and they're at some event. And the cop goes, "Oh, cute." And Alan winds up looking over at the cop. She goes, "Not you." And he's like, "Cops." And I said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" It's like, "No, bro. You act like she violated your rights. She was just saying she wasn't talking to you. Maybe she thought you were ugly. I don't know."
Yeah.
It's like we're humans too. But yeah, so we had a long talk about it because I hate to say it, my brother is a college professor for a long time. It's a very liberal thing, man. Colleges are so liberal, and I think that you should be whoever you want to be. Like I got officers that I work with that are Democrats. We get along just fine. I try to steer, try to be in the middle, but he's just like, well, he'll say shit, and it's like, dude, that's not even true. If you're gonna come at me, at least make sense. At least have some validity behind it. Like these statistics and all, like.
Yeah, statistics. You can shape it any way you want.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
Yeah. Speaking of that, like we had a friend that was like, "You guys should be so lethal, man. Grab a gun, like fucking like Rush Hour." Like he's like Jackie Chan's like, "I caught a bullet," And I was like, bro, training is one of those things where they push you through these certain amount of hours of training a year, and then after that, it's like there might be 6 months you don't shoot a gun.
Right.
It should be incumbent upon you to go shoot more or whatever. So, because that leads to like, why didn't the officer like shoot him in the knee while he's running full speed? Like, come on, dude. Like, just stuff like that.
People are idiots in general.
I remember your story about how you were a broker,
Mortgage broker. Yeah.
and the chick, your boss was like, "Hey, just white out $40,000 and put 50 or whatever."
No, it was a 30-day late. It was the person had been 30 days late on her rent, within like let's say the last 2 years, and my manager was like, "Just white it out, make a copy, put it in the file. They'll never catch it."
And you said you were like sweating bullets for 3
Oh
days.
man, yeah, I was for sure was going to be in trouble.
That's what I was telling someone. I was like, your situation's a little unique, and I think Bozy, like, I'm not gonna go be a drug dealer. Like, I statistically know how that's gonna work out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna get shot, or I'm gonna wind up in prison.
Yeah.
Or I'm not gonna make any money and still get caught anyway. But your situation, like, you wind up doing this unique, weird thing. Not even weird, just unique. Like, I was like, whoa. Like, when you went down the rabbit hole on me, like with the SSN, where I guess if you got out of the health department and say, "Hey, a midwife delivered I got a 10-month-old.
That
I
was
need a Social
Security Administrator.
And dude,
Yeah.
I was telling one of the other guys I work with, it's like, "Oh, hi, I'm so-and-so with the Salvation Army, $20 and all." That could have been, seriously, man, like, that is a fissure that opens up, and now you're in some, like, full-blown, like, and I know you finally had a revelation when you went to prison. You're like, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah.
That would be, dude, I'm telling you, man, like, I would be wrong to sit here and say, yeah, you were just the most terrible person, and you wound up like, no, man. You had millions of dollars, and, guys, like, but they're not smart enough to do that. So they resort to these kind of...
I think it takes a certain skill set, Had I not been a mortgage broker...
Because you were intending on being legit.
Yeah, had I not been a mortgage broker for so long and seen so many things and realized how many opportunities were there for fraud, had I not been in that position and didn't have that skill set, then I probably would have done something vastly different. I mean, it's just something, an avenue comes up and you start going that way. And as soon as things started going bad for me, instead of stepping back and saying, "Hey, I'm not going to do this. I'm not." It's funny. I read a comment. Really, I just read this comment where the guy was like, "I could never use someone's credit card." He's like, "I would be terrified." He said, even if it, like, basically he was saying, like, even if I did it, like, I would be looking over my shoulders for the next, for the next week. But that's how I think. But I think that's just...
You do it the first time you're going to be, maybe the first few times you're going to be scared.
No, you're going to become emboldened when you get away with it.
Exactly. And then it's going to be your 7th time.
But I think that's... I think I made the comment back to the guy. I was like, well, trust me, that's good.
It is.
Because you're just a decent person. That's what a decent person does. He says, "I could never do this. I wouldn't do this. I would be terrified, and it's wrong, and I won't do that." Now, given any situation, or given a certain situation, almost anybody will commit some type of a crime. So,
Yeah.
you know, like, I mean, if you're hungry and you're starving or your kids are starving and
Oh,
you're
absolutely.
living in your car, you're going to resort to crime. But, you know, I did it because, you know, I didn't, you know, I just
think with
wanna
your
step
situation,
backwards.
it was like a wedge. Like it started out and then it just grew and it grew and
Yeah,
it got bigger.
yeah.
And now you're full blown, you're doing all this stuff. And then you knew what you were doing. I mean, but
Oh yeah, it's arrogant, but it's arrogance. It just got worse and worse because I'm arrogant. And it's, the more I got away with it, the more I kept thinking it's just because I'm that amazing, not because I got lucky or not because, you know.
I wonder what Jordan Peterson would say your IQ is.
I don't know.
No, but
I'd love to get him on the podcast.
It'll happen, man. You keep doing what you're doing. It takes a lot of time. You just got 2019.
2019?
Shit, dude, that wasn't that long ago, man.
No,
That was not long ago at all.
it wasn't. It wasn't. It's funny because like Jess and I, like, we wake up at like, I typically wake up at 3:30 or 4 in the morning, and I'll lay there for
Still
a while.
sleeping in the closet?
No. But we neither one of us can sleep past probably 5 o'clock.
Are you locked up too?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, she was in Coleman. She was in the camp when it was a female camp. Now it's male. But so we've really been together a while.
Yeah.
Really.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, well, I was watching your podcast. I think the first video I watched was when Zach was here. I was on the side of the highway doing a construction thing.
Yeah.
And
Good old Zach.
Oh, I'm watching your new clips thing now. Well, you guys just compliment each other so well, man. Like
Well, and if he could stay out of jail, then you know, if he, we could do some more podcasts.
Yeah, well, you got Juan and you got Osiak over here, so
Yeah.
God, dude, that one. Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta bring this up. I'm sorry. I know you guys are trying to. The girl, with the Crown Vic.
Oh yeah. That's
Dude, when you said she drove a Crown Vic.
when Juan said the
signature white trash, dude.
yeah, I know.
Like, did she have the fog? Did she have the spotlight still in it?
I think it was in there.
Bub. He said, "Get out of here, Bub." Or Bud.
The
Whatever he was, the baby daddy. Or...
That's the one when where
Make a Wish. He
Juan
said,
Make a Wish.
Yeah,
It's like
that
a Make a
was-
Wish Foundation.
He was.
Like
I thought you were legitimate. I don't know. Was it scripted, or were you legitimately pissed, or were you just like
Pissed at what?
what he said? You're like, God, bro, what the fuck?
No, I wasn't pissed. I was
Oh,
just
it's
like,
fine.
I was just like, he says these things that I'm like,
Oh, he doesn't.
like,
pull
bro,
punches, man.
oh my God, that you're really like over the line. And when he starts talking about race and stuff, he's like, oh, I can say it. I'm a brown person. I'm like, oh, bro, what are you doing? People are gonna go nuts, you know. So I just listen. I try not to talk about politics. I try to kind of, you know, I try
That's
to.
another thing too, man. Is try how sensitive people are.
Yeah.
Well, look at their studies on testosterone in males. How it's down.
Is it?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
can see
I mean,
that.
you know, and guys are walking around. I mean, and I'm not having nothing against like your lifestyle choices, but it just we are, man. We are going into a really, really soft society, and
Hopefully, there's not a war.
I don't know. I mean, you still got a few guys out. I don't know, but yeah, Well, I mean, Biden's gonna forget where he's. Yeah. So.
What are you doing?
No, we're done.
That's gonna. I'll be reading comments about, you know. Anyway,
That was me saying that, not Matt.
listen. This already drives people nuts.
Man, you were talented, man. That's amazing.
I'll show you
why?
what I got.
Why? Because it's Trump.
Oh, people hate it. They
Well,
hate
he
it.
said he said that he was talking about America being ran like a business, and people were like, "America's not a business." Like, dude, whoa, yes, it is. Everything is about money.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. Like group homes that I was in are now like they had insane asylums, dude. They just let them out on the street.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now they're all in prison.
And they go to prison. I mean, they were still in their robes, gowns, or whatever. They're just like, well, we're going to release these guys. So in Milledgeville, Georgia, they had that happen. Dude, they let them all out. Just let them all out one day. Just all the doors open and see ya. So, yeah, funding is everything. You don't have funding, you've got a wish sandwich. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I've never voted. I know some of the people's viewpoints on them, but yeah, man.
Yeah, to me, look, he's a big seller. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a big seller. Okay, there's plus and minuses to everybody.
Well, I do think it was fascinating to have a billionaire in office that couldn't be bought. Like that was one thing. Like, didn't he waived his salary?
I
think
don't
he
know.
waived it. It's like 400, it's like 400 grand a year they get or something. He waived it. But anyways, yeah, man, I don't know. Yeah, you can't please everybody, and you gotta stay clear down the middle, and that's what I do too. But yeah, show me some of your other stuff, man. For sure.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up.
Outro.
All right. Hey, so I appreciate you guys watching. Do me a favor, if you like the video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so that you get notifications of videos like this. Leave me a comment in the comment section. I try and respond to as many as possible, and share the video to all your friends and family. I really appreciate you watching, and see ya. Hey, so I appreciate you guys watching. Do me a favor, if you like the video, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so that you get notifications of videos like this. Leave me a comment in the comment section. I try and respond to as many as possible, and share the video to all your friends and family. I really appreciate you watching, and see ya.